Hey everybody, let's do some resin inspired Valentine coasters. I'm going to work with pinks and red, see what we can create. So we're going to use counterculture medium viscosity, equal parts A and B, green, yellow label. I'm going to do, I believe, about 9 ounces. So I'm going to do 4.5, and I've got a measurement on the side of my cup. B first. A is thicker, it goes better, mixes easier and everything if you put the thicker into the thinner. So A goes into B, another 4.5 ounces. And that's a total of 9 ounces. These are 5-inch coasters. They hold at least 4 ounces, but we don't want to fill it up. We only want it halfway or less. It actually has a really pretty effect when you've got kind of a really thin layer of resin that you're working with to get your effect in. Then we're going to let it cure 4 or 5 hours and put a back coat on it, which will be the top, but when we unmold, it'll be the back. So I've got my trusty, nasty phone, which is super dirty. Hit start on 6 minutes. And with resin, you don't have to go fast. You just need to stir consistently. Go around the sides, and it's going to be cloudy at first. You can go back and forth. You always want the cup to have more space in it than you're mixing, because you can't mix a cup of resin that's up to the brim. It just will overflow. So you need a little bit of space at the top to have for mixing, and it kind of going up over on the edges and stuff. So I'm just going to stir like this for 6 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, now we're going to hit dismiss, and we're going to go to stopwatch and hit start. And that's important in this process, to keep an eye on the time. And we're going to be paying attention to the warmth and the heat of the resin as well. So I'm going to put that aside and just explain to you. It's probably going to take at least 20 minutes, so I'll probably just talk about it a little bit and then turn the camera off and come back when it's at that point. I've got a little 5-ounce cup. I put a piping bag in it and put it over the edges, and I'm going to put the white resin when we're ready to mix. That's going in there. I'm going to use a combination of Cast and Craft, some white crystal by Etsy Funshine Color Shop, and a white Pinata alcohol ink. So I'll mix probably 1.5 ounces of that in my cup here, and then that will be transferred into the bag, and we're going to pipe that out. And then also, when I put the resin in, once it's warmed up to a certain temperature, till I feel like it's kind of ready to go, I have some red glass chips, and I got them on Amazon. I'll provide the link below the video. I'm going to put them in the middle. I'm going to just use like this is rose colored alcohol ink by Bray Reese. I'm just going to put that on top of the resin. So that'll kind of be a thin color of pink. When you put the white, when you pipe the white onto it, it'll just make it kind of feel pink. And then we'll put that red background behind it on the final layer that's going to go on top of this in about 4 or 5 hours. And so like I said, the key with this kind of effect is timing on your heat, and to get a pretty petal kind of effect. And so heating and timing is very, very important. For the back layer, I'm going to use this little piggy red, and it's not shimmery, but I'll probably add a little bit of alcohol ink to it, like a crimson, to make it maybe even a little bit deeper. And then I'm probably going to come in with Sparkle White by Etsy Funshine Color Shop. This is not, whereas this is white crystal, this is it's more of just a sparkle, and it does not change any color and make it more pastel or make it a lighter shade. It just gives sparkle. Even though it's called sparkle white, it's really just sparkle. So I'm going to add that to my red to give it the shimmer that I want. So that'll be the final top coat. And then when we unmold, it'll be the bottom of the coasters. So this I'm leaving in the cup because it will heat up and do its thing, and it also allows the bubbles to kind of rise to the surface. If we put it into the coasters, it kind of takes a little bit longer sometimes. So I'm just going to leave it in the cup because a deeper cup with resin, that's how I've had accidents in the past. If you kind of leave it and you kind of forget about it and you're busy doing something, it sometimes will flash cure and it's useless. So it builds up that heat and chemical reaction much quicker when it's in a deeper container versus shallow and poured out. Project I did some yellow in these coasters, and I think the molds, I think the yellow kind of stained the mold a little bit because alcohol inks will stain. They stain silicone, they stain your mats, they stain your fingers. That's why I always wear gloves. So I'm just wiping out any chance of any yellow residue or what have you. Alcohol that I use is 91%. I get it on Amazon, and it comes in big bottles like this. And I've got me a torch, and I keep paper towels taped around it just to keep from getting sticky resin on it all the time. I've got my 1800 watt heat gun. I have my low temp heat tool by Counterculture DIY. I've got a little spoon that I got from Counterculture. It's about the size of my pointer finger. I'm going to use that to put the little glass bits in the middle. Always wear gloves. I have the window slightly open. I have a ceiling fan going. It's best health-wise to wear eyewear, either glasses or some goggles, or like safety glasses, or a full face mask, or you can wear a mask that just covers your nose and mouth. But you want to just be extra cautious, even though all resins these days usually say low VOCs or no VOCs. It's still a chemical reaction. There's still, even if you don't smell anything, there's still stuff that's floating through the air, little micro bubbles when you're stirring that you can't even see. Sometimes you can catch them in the light, and they're uber tiny, but you don't want that stuff going up your nose and in your mouth and eyes and stuff. So always err on the side of caution. So it's only been 6 minutes. I'm gonna come back and just keep checking my temperature of my resin. It's not even warm yet, so we've got a ways to go. I love this little, I saw Julie Cutts using this and had to get one. It's a temperature. I do it in Fahrenheit because I'm in the United States, and so it says the room is in the 70s, and that's because it's winter time and we have the heat on, but I'm upstairs in a bonus room, so it's going down. And it also has a little light on it. You can turn it on just so you can see the thing better, and when you close it, it turns off automatically. But you will put this in the resin and just check it periodically to see what the temperature is, and we're kind of aiming for around 100 degrees or so before we kind of put it into the coasters, and then we know that it's kind of starting to do its thing and is getting to that like special stage. So I'll be back. Okay, it shows at about 108 degrees, but that's only in portions of it. You'll get a different temperature in different parts of the cup. But it's been 25 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and put aside about 1.5 ounces. Spilling stuff here. And I'm going to pour resin in each coaster mold. Kind of pace yourself so that you don't get one too full and one not full enough, that kind of thing. I did this last time, and 2 ounces in this mold is really thin, but it really had a pretty effect. I'm going to take a paper towel and wipe this off and let it cure, and I can use it again and again. And kind of on low heat on your thing, or you can use your heat gun or whatever. Okay, so here is the white mixture I'm going to make, and I'm going to start with I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drops of alcohol ink. I'm going to put in just a little spoonful, just want a little shimmer. It's not even a full spoon of the white crystal. I may add a little more, but I'm not sure. Okay, and on the Cast and Craft, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes there will be a little bit that drips off. And let's mix that up and see what it looks like. I'm moving it away so it doesn't, the mica doesn't fall into the clear. So I think that's good enough. I'm not going to add any more pigment. It's got a little shimmer to it, so we're going to go with that. And we're at 28 minutes, so we want to get busy with our I hope I don't run out of alcohol ink here. I meant to tint my resin too. I totally forgot. I did that last time. Again, this is rose. And it's just empty. Got all of it that I could. I like pinata. It doesn't do kind of weird shapes and all, so I like pinata actually better. This is, I want to make sure this is totally cleaned off, and then when you close it, it turns itself off. I'm going to transfer this, give it one more good stir, and transfer it into my piping bag. It's funny, the alcohol ink has more of an odor than the resin does, to be honest. I don't really notice the smell of the resin, but I do with the alcohol ink sometimes. Pull that out of the cup. Straighten it up. Shake it all down. Twist it nice and tight. And that's going to be piped here in a minute. I just want to make sure it's nice and evenly distributed. No major gaps. But it looks pretty good. The other thing is, you don't really want to put your fire from your heat gun over alcohol ink. It can sometimes flame up. So you can just use your heat tools to take care of that. Okay, and now I'm going to take my little spoon. I'm going to dip into my little bag here, and I'm going to just put probably about a third of a spoon. You don't want a ton, you just want a little accent in the middle. Okay. I'm just going to make sure I'm pushing those down, but they would, because they're glass bits, they're heavier, they're going to go to that bottom, which will be our top when we unmold them. Okay. So this is, I'm going to go ahead and use this because it's pretty warm. You don't want it to get to the point where it's so hot you can't hardly touch it, which I've done before. So I'm going to cut off the tip, and we're just going to start doing petals. Make sure to ball this end up in your thing so it doesn't drag in your hand, so it doesn't drag in the. And I'm going to start kind of small. And then I'm just going to kind of layer these petals up and kind of go in between. And take it out almost to the edge. So you're kind of making about 2 passes around just to kind of hit those in between spots. And then just shift that white down. Again, just filling in any gaps you might see. And if you have like a blob, just take your skewer and kind of try to fan it out. And when it's almost out, it'll kind of burp on you a little bit, and that's when you know that you don't got much left. I don't know where that don't got came from. Now, if I had regular like 4.5-inch coasters, the like geode shaped ones, they only hold a couple of ounces of resin. So you would only put 1 ounce of resin in, do your effect in that 1 ounce, and another ounce to put the back coat. But again, these are 5-inch deep coasters, so they hold over 4 ounces of resin. And any like little funky looking blobbies or a line that doesn't look finished or something like that. And when your resin gets to its kind of breaking point where it's not going to go much further, we're at 37 minutes right now, it'll almost get stringy like plastic, and then you know that you can't really work with it anymore, and you'll be forced to stop, piping it. So you want to be cognizant of your time and the heat of it, and if it's getting really hot in your hands, then you're just really done. So again, just checking I'm trying to separate any white that might be touching the edge, just so it won't kind of hold on and grab to the edge of that coaster. And then I'm going to take my heat gun and put it on low and just kind of help it move along just a little bit. I'm going to do another round after this one with more of a pinky, magenta pink, and I'm going to put maybe the color into the resin itself instead of drop it in like alcohol inks. I'm not sure, but you can cover it. I typically do, but because there's going to be another layer on top of this, if there's a little speck of dust that falls on top or whatever, you're never going to see it really, so you don't have to really worry about that. So I'm going to come back in like 4 hours or so, and we'll put that back coat of resin on. Okay, it's been 4 hours, and we're going to do the background layer, and I've got roughly 8 ounces or so there, same medium viscosity, equal parts A and B. Mixed it for 6 minutes, but we don't have to hit a timer this time because we're just mixing up a color and then we're going to put it in. I've got a little cup here, and I kind of want to disperse this before I put it into my resin so there's no clumps by accident, because it's just a really red mica with no shimmer. It's very kind of, the consistency is a little bit odd. So I'm going to put a little alcohol in my cup. We'll put that much, and then clean my spoon off. I do want a nice healthy spoonful of the sparkle white. Let's just give that a little stir. The alcohol is already kind of like, it evaporates, so, but it basically just disperses the color. That's not enough. I'm going to go ahead and just put a full spoonful in. Just want to mix it up a little bit. Then I'm going to put this into the big cup, and I may add more. It almost kind of makes it like a lumpy paste, because the sparkle is really more like really micro fine glitter. It just gives it the shimmer. This is not the easiest cup to get. It has these little grooves in it. I don't know if that was a great idea, but anyway, get it on my stick. Let's see what this looks like first. Maybe I'll use red by Resin and just put in about 8 or 10 drops of alcohol ink in there. It's got the sparkle, so I've got plenty of the sparkle white. That was just a spoonful of that, and a little over the spoonful of the piggy red. Rad is actually the color, R-A-D, rad. It is kind of transparent though, which I don't mind. This is watermelon candy, and this is really pigmented. So I think what I'm going to do, just the little lip inside under the, I'm just going to take my stick and scrape that into it and make a mess too, all at the same time. So let's stir that a little bit. The end of my stick, and put that little dab onto my stick. Wipe that off. And I think I'm going to go into this poppin' pink. Dip a little of that in there. Just really kind of make my own color. Sometimes you just don't have the right color, and you have to invent the color you want. Garnet. Garnet is a red dispersion color. I'm going to stick my stick in, kind of dab it in there. I'm not pouring it in because, like I said, they're dispersion and they're an intense color, and they can really be strong. So that's why I'm just kind of taking it slow. Okay, I'm going to put one more dose in. So that was watermelon candy. With any resin, you never put more than 10% of mica, alcohol inks, pigments, anything. And I'm not even close to 10%. I always put it in slow and build up so that I don't get too intense on the color if it's not the color I'm looking for. You can't kind of go backwards. You can only go forwards. I think I'm going to leave it right there. And don't go too hard and too much on any one of them. Kind of disperse it out so that you have enough for each coaster. And I actually did not mix enough. I should have probably mixed at least 12 ounces now that I've done this, but this will still work. Just need a background layer. So you can imagine what it might look like, but until you unmold it, you really just don't know. You can cover this, you don't have to because it's actually the bottom, but if you want it perfect. And then I'm going to spray alcohol just to release any air surface bubbles. And wait till tomorrow. So I'll be back. Okay, it's been overnight, so we're going to check it out. It's pretty. Yeah. A few little blobs in the middle, but that's okay. So yeah, I like these. They look Valentine-y. So I'm going to do a pink set and change it up just a bit maybe and see what happens. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you learned something, and see you on the next video. Bye-bye.